discovering the pathology of these parasites and how effective they are convincing the host that they're the host. Yeah.
Good lead in.
What?
A good lead in.
It's true, man.
Yes, good lead in on the top. Yeah.
There's
You must be escaped.
there's so much more stuff coming out. There's incredible. You know the one about Toxo, right? It's the nickname of a very it's in a lot of things. It's in about 20 or 30% of humans, supposedly, usually dormant until it gets its chance. But this thing, Toxo, all the parasites usually have a very difficult chore coming to around reproduction. Yeah, they have a huge drive to reproduce, but they have severe limitations in being successful. And so the Toxo has a very daunting dilemma. It can only reproduce in the stomach of a cat. Yeah, can't reproduce anywhere else. So, and it's in a lot of other mammals and a lot of other things. So it has to convince its host to sort of give themselves over to a cat, get eaten by the cat. Then the Toxo finds itself in the cat's belly, reproduces, and when the cat shits, it shits out a lot of mini Toxos, and then they go ahead trying to populate something else and lead that something else to a cat to get eaten by the cat. Yeah, all unbeknownst to the cat or the rat, the mouse, just completely unbeknownst to, maybe, I would imagine so, because they jack into the brain. Yeah, and now they've got this cicada. It's really trippy. They're calling it a zombie cicada, where there's this thing living in it, and the thing again neutralizes the cicada's defenses and starts eating it while it's alive. So the bottom part of the cicada is like being eaten by the parasite, but it keeps the top part alive so that it can continue eating the bottom part. So I don't know why I'm speaking about it, but to me in recovery, it's such a perfect example. And of course there isn't a parasite called self, but the imagery is helpful because how else are you gonna get suspicious of the act of being identified as? You have to sort of start getting suspicious and hopefully get the right message to see it as other than you, because the whole strategy of all the parasites in a way is to convince the host that it's the host, because the parasite doesn't have the ways or the means to fulfill its agenda. It needs the host to help fulfill the agenda. Yeah, so it needs a compliant host. So in a weird way, in recovery, in my experience, it just seems so obvious that something had taken me over in for years of that experience. In hindsight, I could see that something had taken me over. No one was seeing it outside. I wasn't noticing it seemingly in this location. And yet it had complete sway over the action figure Paul. And it brought Paul to where it brings a lot of other hosts that it takes over, which is institution, jails, and death. And every person seeming person that arrives at those 3 parking spaces has a whole narrative of how they did this to get there. Yeah, disguising the parasite's agenda by the claiming of it being your agenda. And then not just that, when you arrive at the parking space, in later years, it just rips you a new one with guilt and shame. Why did you fucking arrive at that parking space? Yeah. And it's all assumed on the idea that you're the owner or the doer or the liver of this life, when in fact, we're not. Yeah. So it just sort of pigeonholes with non-duality, because what would be the next step? So first, let's see, you have no idea something is taking you over. So then the idea that something is taking you over is pretty good, yeah? So now you get a little suspicious, and then hopefully you've recognized some activity as other than you. They're still giving it a huge credence, but then you're introduced to non-duality, and you can actually see that there was never a parasite, yeah? But in a different way than when you were under the yoke of the parasite, you would have sworn there was never a parasite, being completely parasitized, let's say. Now you're saying the same thing, but it has weight, because you've recognized, you've recognized the movement of parasite, and then it leads you to there was never a parasite. That's the greatest relief, because there's no vanquishing of a real parasite to get the relief. The relief was already available because there's no parasite. But you can't jump the gun and try to say there's no parasite while you're totally infected with the parasite. It doesn't work. This is what happens when people, or whatever you want to call us, yeah, are introduced to non-duality. They start calling themselves a non-self, completely in selfing, yeah? So they don't get the relief because they've jumped the gun. They haven't seen what they're not, yeah? And then seeing what they're not and maybe feeling okay, you know, instead of like that movie Fight Club where, Ed Norton's punching himself when he finally sees the real video. He thought Brad Pitt was doing it. He realizes it's him, yeah? But first he had to see it wasn't him, that it was Brad Pitt. And then it goes to the next layer, which is, and there's no Brad Pitt, yeah? It's beautiful. So this whole idea of the non-duality, in the conditions that we find ourselves in, you can't just go up to the lion and tell it it's a lion, because it doesn't work, because the lion is occupied by the sheep idea, which is blinding the lion to being a lion. And all the telling us that we're a lion isn't going to change that, because what's going to be presented as the hearer of the message is the sheep, yeah? You have to see the fault of spiritual seeking from what we're not. It's so obvious why it would be a deterrence, why it would be the obscuring agent, yeah? Why that activity or that agitation of self trying to get out of self is really the disguise of the identification as self, yeah? So instead of like, all right, I gotta stop seeking, and then it's like people who stop drinking in AA, but they don't have recovery. And then the people around them start giving them suggestions. You know, it'd be better off if you drank again, because you were a fucking asshole without drinking. You know what I mean? Because there's been no recovery. So fuck it, it'd be better if you drank, because at least it will lead you to the new possibility of being sick and tired of being sick and tired. So the same way, the idea of constantly bombarding the lion, AKA sheep, with the message it's a lion doesn't work. Has it? If it hasn't worked, do you think it's really because you didn't do enough? Or you had to do it longer? Or you need to do more of it? Or the book should be longer? Or the chance, you know, I mean, how much more can you put more and longer on it? It's still failed. You know, it's like the dead horse is the dead horse. Yeah. What's the appropriate response if you're on a dead horse? Get up, you know, hitch your ride, whatever, you know, I mean, so I don't know, you know, I don't know if you would call being liberated from the need to be liberated liberation, but it's fucking damn good. Yeah, it's a damn good state, because it's not like fanned by agitation or kept going by, like doing CPR on it, keeping it alive. It's just basically there, completely available at all times, right where you are. Yeah, there's not much fanfare. It isn't like you go through a gate with like tons of divine jewels all in it. No, it's just there. It's available now. Yeah, right as we are. But it isn't available to what we're not. It isn't. So, and I'm telling you, the activity of what you're not is quite prevalent. I mean, it's unbelievable. Why do you think there's time here? Why does time seem so real? The feeling of time is because time is how the self gets remembered. Yeah, that's how it gets reinforced. The whole beginning of the whole magic trick, as described by Ramana Maharshi, is the presupposing. So there's something that's being assumed or just supposed, and then when the supposing is occurring, it's presupposed. Means, in other words, if you suppose you're Paul, it immediately it presupposes that you were Paul. Yeah, it's that fast. In other words, in a second, it can have a history. Yeah, and then that history provokes a concern about that history of Paul, how it's going to do in the future history. So I was Paul. Yeah, triggers the concern of what will I be like as Paul in the future, and it all is used to imply a Paul now. Yeah. So the mental state goes, I was, I will be, therefore I am. It's not it's resting on I am, but it's not the I am that it's resting on. Yeah. It's I am Paul, which is sort of like a mental, it's like a mental leaf on a stream. Yeah. You're sitting on the leaf and you're wondering why all the historical descriptions of what it would be like going down a stream don't really fit, because you're not in the water. You're sitting on a leaf. Yeah. So you're not getting it. So you're thinking, oh, someone says you're always wet. That's not your experience. You think I'm wet now because it's 106 degrees in Nevada, but I'm not always wet. You are what you're looking for. Well, wait a minute. If I am, it just devalued 30 years of my behavior. I don't fucking want to entertain that. Yeah. It makes me look like an idiot if I spend 30 years trying to become what I already am. So the head is always going to chime in and say it's the hearer of the message. And then all of the considerations that get reacted by that being the hearer, it starts holding. Yeah. Wow. Do I really want to fucking give up 30 years of this lifestyle for a solution? I think I'll just keep searching for the solution. Yeah. So, so I hope all of us have probably seen something that was called us, was revealed not to be us. And maybe people gave it the name ego or something, but suddenly at one point in our lives, that subjective self was objectified. We saw it, yes? We saw something, and then it made sense when people said, that's what's defeating you. That's what's fucking your life up. That's what's withholding and causing you not to be able to embrace and receive and give love, all right? So now the culprit has been objectified, not knowing that the culprit is also taking the point, this view, of being the new subject that sees the objectification of the same mental idea, the same activity. The mental activity is dualistic. It's two-sided, yeah? You catch one, and then the seeing of the one is presented as a catcher of the one. Another one is now the catcher of the one, yeah? And that one is the bad one, and this one is somewhat got some hope, and maybe it can get really good when it vanquishes this other one. That's the duality. Non-duality is negating. That's what it is. It's negating this little two-sided coin of subject-object. Most of us have no idea. We're assuming the subject is the subject, but we constantly, the thoughts and everything else remind it or remember it as an object. So we don't seem to have any problem with that. We don't see, oh, sure, I'm the seer, I'm the hearer, I'm the feeler. When in a little bit of investigation, it seems completely absurd that I'm the one that's seeing. It does. I feel seeing is first, and then this idea of seer comes later. But let's forget that. Yeah, I got to go to the store. So, all right. So it's comfortable. The seer seeing, the subject-object duality goes on. And then what happens is maybe, there's an irritability, a restlessness, a discontent to some level. And then you start looking into a topic called spirituality with the hopes of feeling better, maybe being able to be in the moment and enjoy peace of mind and not fuck up the next relationship, these things. So, okay. So now suddenly the aperture opens and we see the culprit. Wow. I didn't know that thing was abiding in me, but now I've seen it, the ego. I have to erase the ego. I've got to vanquish the ego, whatever it is. Not knowing the twin of the ego is speaking as if it's you that's going to vanquish the ego. And most people never get to the second one. They never get to the first one, really. And usually the first one, there's a stopping and they never get to the second one. Yeah, but we're here and we've gotten past the second one. Yeah, now the whole terrain changes completely, because now when you see the one, there'll be an implying of the other. Yeah, whichever one it is, you'll see I'm not that nor this. Yeah, or I'm not this nor that. Yeah. Please. I mean, it's the basis of equanimity in a sense. I'm neither this nor that. I don't know what the fuck I am, but I know I'm not that, and I'm definitely knowing not the new this isn't me either. Yeah? All right, there you go. All the work's done. Now, if you want to call it the gravitation of grace, the gravitation of grace is going to take you where it wants to take you. But at least you'll travel lighter through this whole event. And you know what? This whole event, if you really look at it, isn't really that long. And it's 80 years is like nothing in a sense, yeah, in a weird way. Yeah. So, and we're out to lunch at least 1/3 of the time every day. We're asleep. So, I mean, if we were the center of everything, we're sort of we take a long lunch. I would think we'd be having to engage 24/7 if it was all about me. But we go to sleep for 8 hours. We're out there and things seem to work out quite well. So this whole idea, all right, you've recognized the thief. Once there's the seeing of when there's no seeing of the thief, yeah, there's no policeman in a weird way. Once, because the selfing's doing its thing, yeah? Yeah? It's unnoticed, the parasite's going, it's like the parasite's in both ears, fucking like this. Suddenly, the host gets, hey, wait a minute, yeah? Oh, and so, all right, there's an objectification of the subjective selfing, and now you think you know the problem. All the while, it's claimed to be the knower of the problem. So there's a bigger problem in the knower of the problem, yeah? And then it goes on living and getting better and then falling back and so on and so forth and feeling great about itself sometimes, but also guilt and shame for not doing enough, not doing enough service. I should have kept my lips on the master's foot longer or whatever it is, yeah? So it'll have its little play on, it'll keep constantly playing on you all day, yeah? And you'll think that's you. You will. Yeah. That's not me, the one I've recognized, but now this one, now it becomes the new counsel to the king. Yeah. It's now the one whispering in your ear all day. Yes. Yeah. The freedom isn't from the freedom isn't from one, it's from both. Yeah, please. Yeah. And what we're saying is there's neither. There is neither. That's why we like to use the word selfing, because when you say self, it sounds like a thing, something that's established, it's real, or somehow it's at least there. But selfing is an activity that implies a thing. That's all that's going on. Selfing is an activity that implies a thing. Yeah, that's all. Yeah. The seeing will trigger an act of being identified as a seer. That's what it will do. The mental state will claim the seeing to imply the seer, lose all interest in the seeing, and get a new interest in the seer. To the point where, let's say the seer was a drug addict and drug dealer, and now 20 years later, the seer is a spiritual giant. Yes? It can go those ways. It can. It's because it's caught in this little salt and pepper of duality. Yes? Whoa, whoa, whoa. But there's no getting out of what you're not in. The bondage of self is believing you're in what you're not in. Yeah? There's no freedom from the bondage of self. It's an inherent condition. You have never been bound to self. Yeah? That which is bound to self is not you. That which needs to be unbound to self is not you. Yeah? It's this little mental gyration that keeps claiming to be us. Yeah? And I mean, yeah, well, that's it.
Thanks. Anybody want to raise their hand? Kaiser. Kaiser is with us.
Kaiser, that was fast. Jeez, you just had the food hasn't even gone down yet, and then you have a question about the recipe. All right.
Just a hand. He's not coming up yet.
Hey there, yeah, I just ate, so I'm
You just ate.
yeah. I'm like, how do you know I just ate? Wow, weird. I guess not a particular question, but I just wanted to say thank you because I'm traveling a hell of a lot lighter. One thing that's really helpful finding you is I particularly like to do the step work, but this is not a step work meeting. So the non-duality is a huge interest in me. You don't like the word ego, and I've kind of also just listening to you kind of let go that idea of ego go, and that's helped me actually see my experience rather than codifying like a term called ego, which we all think we understand or whatever. So that was very helpful. And then your particular way is so informal. I love the way you curse. I love like you, well, maybe not a regular guy, but just so informal that it makes it accessible. And it just encourages me to see in my experience. And all I can see in my experience is if I'm not believing the thoughts that are here, I mean, they're here, but I take them a little bit lighter, then I don't have to freak out about stuff that's not, like you say, not happening. And I don't know. I just wanted to say thanks for the, it was profound about the not liking the word ego. And then you kind of explain around that. It allows me to like see my experience as it comes rather than going into the mind and saying, no, this is ego. No, this is the self. And this
yes, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Anyway,
See,
that's all I got.
Knowing names puts a kibosh on finding shit out. Yeah. Knowing names, giving thing names. See, that's the beauty of non-duality. It's not giving anything a name. It's negating something. Yeah. Yeah. It is.
It's not
saying it's not saying oneness. It isn't. It has nothing to do with oneness. It's not going oneness. It's going not to. Yeah, because it's the most perfect direction I've ever heard in this giant topic, non-duality, because it's a negation. It's a negation of that which is assuming to be true. It's beautiful. It is, because, and if it works for you, well, never works for you, but when it works, it just rings so true. And in my sense of it, it never stopped ringing, you know? It would be periodically ringing for a while, and then there was a moment where it just never, it just keeps echoing on and on and on and on. And in a way, in this life, at this point, it has been, and it became a while ago, the last answer, which no other answer has the quality of the last answer, because the quality of the last answer, it takes away any need for any other answers. That's what I love about it, really. It takes away the need for any other answers concerning this topic. It's so beautiful, man. Again, it's really negation. It's the negation of answers. It's the negation of questioner, because you are the answer. Yeah. So even the answer gets negated. It's beautiful because you are it. Exactly. And your living is completely different than a mental interpretation of it. It is completely different feeling. Yeah. And living, things are being so noticed, they're unnoticed a second later. Yeah. You're just traveling lighter. You're not, I could just compare it because the mental state works on comparison. I was, as a person, as a thing, I was deeply, deeply disturbed to go to the conditions and to the states I went to. Yeah. And it provoked a lot of consequences that were severe. And it was very hazardous if it would have continued. I don't know if it would have had to come to an end, a quick end, because you can only like faint with the devil so many times. And yet, to arrive at a place in time without any real thought or effort and a clear acknowledgement that I have nothing to do with it, of being allowed and have the ability to travel lighter and enjoy peace of mind and to understand serenity and know peace, just totally mind-boggling, completely mind-boggling. Yeah, completely. I mean, you would have had to have a flavor of what it was like to really appreciate how grateful I am for the flavor that's dominant now. Yeah. And this is just in this place, yeah. I mean, where the effects are minimal and are framed in time. The recognition of to have the delusion of seeking be totally erased, to never spend any moment looking for what can't be found. Yeah, to really feel if I saw myself today from when I was younger, the way I would look to the person who was younger was, that's exactly what it didn't want to be like. That's what drove it to seek ordinariness, okay, mundane, living in a house in suburbia, shit like that. And yet, I just can't imagine. I really feel like a fraud all the time, but a fraud in these situations, because some people still come to these talks thinking this is a spiritual program. It isn't. It's totally the antithesis of what I see as spirituality here. It's just like, you are what you're looking for. And you're looking for it is going to prolong that fact. It can't change the fact, but in time, it can make it seem not to be a fact. Yeah. And the more you look, the only value in all you're looking is that it's going to fail you. And by it failing you, it will succeed. So you'll get so exhausted using what you are to look for itself, there'll be a pause or a stopping, and you'll get a sense of that's what I am. Yeah. And things will be put right, and then you'll be chilled out, at least about this topic. And it doesn't come up for review or debate. It hasn't for 20 years or so in my life. It's like the only thing that really had a real period at the end of the sentence. It just stopped, and it's just been stopped. Yeah. So, I feel all of us have that possibility right now, always available at all times, right where we are. The best understanding to have is about what we're not. Yeah. You have enough experiences concerning what you're not. You can study what you're not. You can have an understanding of what you're not. And in doing that, you realize you're not that. And then you'll find out, like, instantaneously what you are, and it will inform you, you have always and always will be that. Yeah. That no, all this huffing and puffing hasn't increased anything or decreased anything. It really hasn't. It's truly the stuff of dreaming. It truly is. It's the stuff of dreaming. And that you and I are inherently not okay based on contradiction of the belief in unokayness, just what is. Yeah. It doesn't have any of the qualities nor the opposites of any of those qualities. It can't be known because we're it. And there's no need to know it. Who'd want to know it when you can just chill out? Yeah. So. All right, well.
Thanks, guys. Beatrice.
I'm into ranting today. I'm into ranting.
Hi. Hi, it's Beatrice. Hi, Paul. Hi, everybody. Hi, Paul. So let me see if I understand this, and I think you answered my question, and all I have to do is go in and who's asking the question. But I'm negating what, for lack of a better term, the seer and the seen, and that's non-duality.
Yes.
Am I correct? Yes, okay. And so I am what I am. So just look at who's answering the question, and that's my answer.
Well, you don't need an answer.
Right. Got it. Thank you.
Yeah. And
Problem
then what
later.
the beautiful thing is, you can be as Beatrice because you're not. That's the great, see, trying to be Beatrice, as Beatrice is quite limiting.
Yes.
Quote unquote, being Beatrice, knowing you're not, is quite open. Yeah.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
There you go, honey. Yeah.
Woo!
Woohoo!
Love it.
No opening for a rant.
We should end on that, really, but whatever.
Thanks, Beatrice.
Or begin on that. That's good.
Julie is up.
Julie.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Paul. Thanks, Mike. Yesterday, I was given a video by somebody, Frank Venn, came on YouTube, and it's been on before. But anyway, I was watching it through, and I had this, I guess, a sudden insight of that everything I was doing mentally to be this Julie person was not even there. It was as if it was all nonsense, and I wasn't going to get anywhere. And
Well,
I had
that
to.
may be continuing.
Sorry, let me find you.
That may be continuing.
Okay,
It's all nonsense and it's not going to get anywhere.
it felt as if like I should put the whole thing, if I was going to be not finding myself, but so he's fully realized this gentleman, right? But what it
Wow.
made me feel as if I wasn't going to get anywhere by thinking I'm a Julie ever. There wasn't going to be any conceptual knowledge or anything I can rely on to be what I already was. And even trying to anyway, that's it pretty much. I just felt as if everything I was doing was kind of like, wasn't going to get
Well, why
me
don't
there.
you ask who it is that thinks was doing all that? It wasn't you. See, this is the dilemma when there's descriptions without the warning of the mental states claiming to be the one that's being talked to. That's what goes on unseen or unemphasized quite a lot. Yeah.
Okay, so what is,
And
okay.
there's no, hold on a second. I don't want to get into other people things. First of all, it's an oxymoron, fully realized person. Yes. Yes?
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I didn't know you were talking to me. Okay, yep.
Fully realized person. There isn't a person, first of all. Yes?
Okay, I'm sorry, I used the wrong words. He calls himself,
Frank.
he's headless. He calls himself
Oh,
headless.
headless. Yes, yes.
So it's not what he said that I felt was wrong, but just felt as if everything I was doing as trying to figure this out, trying to get there, nothing would ever work. Because there's no conceptual knowledge out there, no knowledge out there that I was ever going to use to get to where I wanted to go.
Great.
And I'm using words, but I'm trying to convey that it was a feeling of this whole idea of this person wasn't really even there.
Well,
That's what
the
I
person
felt.
isn't there. The person isn't there, but the idea is for sure.
Okay, can you clarify that just a teeny
Well, you're
bit?
talking right now.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, yeah.
But this is the headless state in a way that we're aiming for.
No, we're
it's
not
all,
aiming for. We're not aiming for any state.
because we already are that.
That would be helpful. Yeah. See, aiming
Yeah,
for a
okay.
state implies you're not near that state. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Well, so yesterday was that feeling as if sort of like a lighter feeling, as if,
Yeah.
okay, more
Yeah,
an
great.
acceptance of, you know, like Hong Pao said, there's just, or, you know, Maharaj, there's,
Yeah, but see, this is knowledge. But the thing is, what's claiming that knowledge is going to give it the meaning it has. Yeah. So this is what you have to watch out for. This is what we speak about. The speed of the self in claiming to have had that experience or realization yesterday, and how easily it will entrench itself to be the one that had the experience.
Right.
And go on and on about the experience using all that, and then the counter talks at a group to reinforce that one that you're not.
Right. Okay. So these things that I'm referring to with the quotes are from your book. That was the only reason I was bringing them up. But
yeah, no,
the other thing
awesome.
is,
we're just trying to point out that there's a mental state that's arising quite quickly, and yeah.
So if I were to say these things to you without that mental state arising, how would I? That's what I'm trying to get at.
You wouldn't say it to me, probably. You wouldn't say it to me. Yeah, you would just be chilled out.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Because see, my whole focus now is to really sort of, because there is only this oneness. There is only this is, right? There's not. so a lot of times what comes up for me is fear, and often the emotion gets in the way. And when I say to people I have this fear and I can't get past this fear, they say you need to go see somebody who deals with the fear, because that's still part of the character.
No. Why do you need to? Who needs to get past the fear?
The character.
Yeah, exactly.
But if I'm
are you the character that needs to get past the fear?
no.
So therefore, if you're not the character that needs to get past the fear, you'll see that fear isn't stopping anything. It's arising in a very large space. Yes.
All right. And if it's really intense fear, just
really intense fear, the same. If the really intense fear seems to have a you, then you need to use skillful means to get relief. Sort of like being, in a house that's on fire. You don't need to know there's no house and no fire. It's not serving you. You need a pail of water. Yeah.
right.
But yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, when you said in that situation where you felt as if God could do a better job, actually, the dog catcher could do a better job.
Yes.
That sort of gave me a permission slip of sorts, a freedom.
Please,
and because in fact, what you said was that God could do a better job. So I just focused on everything that I couldn't do, right? And then just start to give that away. I think those were your words. I'm not sure.
Well, yeah, those are descriptions of something. They're not really, we're not trying to set out a path. Those are describing an effect already.
Okay.
Yeah, in words. In other words, we're not trying to set up the steps for the accident. We're expressing the accident after it's already happened. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So a lot of my conditioning is not to take a foot out of line, right?
But it's not your conditioning, hon.
It feels like my conditioning.
Of course it does.
I know.
That's why it's called your conditioning.
Okay. So my thing is like, sometimes when things happen, the stability of not taking on the notion that I'm wrong or I'm getting there, or so I in some ways I feel like anyway, never mind that. I'm probably still talking from the me. But
well,
it just
what
feels
you can
like
do is you've studied what you're not. There's just an assumption that it's you, but you got all the studying of what you're not that's probably needed to recognize what you're not. Yeah,
Right.
you're describing qualities and attributes of what you're not. So therefore, you've seen them, but then I feel somehow or another they still are given a sense of being or you, and this is just to recognize what you're studying that seems to imply you is a description of a you. Yes?
right.
The you is when the compact has, in a way, been signed. Yeah. Now you're going off on describing you in great detail. That knowledge doesn't go anywhere in my view. Yeah.
Right.
The knowledge of that called you, when held as a you, is valuable. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's what I'm there's always this feeling like a what do you call it? An elusive feeling that you're always trying to get something, but you're not ever quite making it. That always feels like a part of me, right? And so when I speak to people, it's like, well, you haven't got this right. Well, you haven't got that right. And I never feel like I can just lift off and go on my own. That's what I feel.
Yeah, that's the head. That's the head
Okay.
giving it self-relevance.
Okay.
Yes,
So
you can read it from I don't even know you, and I can read it from a mile away. That's the
yeah,
head giving relevance. Oh, the head is sort of like, all right, you can spend a lot of hours every day convincing me to go along with the plan of knowing God. Or it'll take the other thing, which is, I'm going to obstruct you from the sunlight of the Spirit. It's both statements of having relevance that we give it.
right.
Yeah.
And what I appreciate is that you're actually pointing it out to me, and I don't always see it myself. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
You're welcome. If we were live, you would have been hit with the stick already. So yeah. So you should be happy about Zoom.
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
I'm joking, but I'm not joking.
Yeah, I know
This
what you
is
are.
why we call it ZenBitchSlap.com. I mean,
Yep.
Zoom, there's a lot more license in Zoom than we usually give if it was a regular live meeting.
Right. No, I appreciate it anyway. I do appreciate it because this is.
We appreciate you, honey. Yeah. And
Thank you.
yeah. Just show up here and you're gonna start laughing a little more. You'll be like Johans and other people. They had very stern looks in their little Zoom square, and now they're fucking, laughing. It's not like their whole life doesn't depend on one answer or one question being asked. Yeah, they're traveling lighter, and so that's the whole point. Yeah, you'll see.
Yep.
See, the thing is, traveling lighter gives you the greatest view of all. Yeah, because then you're not trying to get a beat on something while you're just being rushed through time and moved by all this mental agitation. You can really see blue is blue and red is red, and you'll lose interest in a lot of the shit that you think is going to save you. Because it ain't. It has nothing to do with it, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
That
like
which wants to know doesn't need to know. It doesn't.
It's almost like when I read it and I understand it, because this gentleman, just because somebody had said to me, I watched it, and what he said to me, which made a lot of sense, and what made me feel a little better was the fact that he said there's a center you. If you can get to the idea that there's no center you, that's your biggest challenge, that's all you ever need to do. There is no you. So it was just like like another light bulb moment where I started to get reaffirmed. But when I speak to you and I'm trying to ask you questions, that's where I get caught up in the head.
Great.
Because there's a part of me that doesn't trust me. That's really maybe what the issue is.
You know what? I'm just going to share something, Julie, with this. It's not personal. What you're not is never going to know what you are.
Right.
You need to be clear about where this voice is speaking from in you. Is it speaking from what you're not, or is it, well, usually there'll be a lot of silence in what you are, but there's, you don't need to find you. Yeah. You need to see what you're not. Yeah.
Right.
Because you're demonstrating it. We're demonstrating it, all of us, right now, today. And there's so much, the seeing, not what's seeing and then having a diagram or a description. It's the seeing. It's that sense of awareness is it. That's the meat of it. Yeah. And from there, you see what you're not. Yeah. You're never going to see what you are from what you're not. You're not.
Right.
I don't care who gives you a fucking master plan. It's always going to be used to reinforce what you're not. Because most of us, that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
So
you can't perceive what you are.
No, you can't perceive what you are. But you are the perceiving of what you're not. Yes.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah. What you're not wants a lot of knowledge. What you are doesn't need any knowledge. You can. There are some basic qualities that will confirm uh, where you seem to be. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. All right, honey. I'll
And
see you soon.
thank you. Okay.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thanks, Julie. And Richard, you wanted to come up?
Thank you, Mike. Hey, Paul.
Hey, Richard. I'm trying to see.
Right here. All the Buddha back there.
Just speak. It's fine. I don't need to see you.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Anyway, I'm the one that has all that Buddha back there.
All right.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
I finally got your volume 1 book.
Yeah.
Yeah. Looking through it, it reminded me of all those years that I was seeking, thinking that I was going to become spiritually enlightened. Okay.
Yeah.
And now I realize I was trying to convince what I'm not to do that, to keep seeking, looking for all these spiritual books, looking for going to the next spiritual retreat, all that sort of thing. It's seen through clearly now.
Great.
Based on how you've been explaining it. And also not taking yourself so seriously. Now I understand what that means.
Yes.
Yeah. And then listening to Julie reminded me of that, because I noticed the last talk I was here and Julie was here, she said, "Oh, I bought your book," and I was reading it, and then it reminded me of all those times I used to buy books in the past, all those years, thinking I'm going to get somewhere now. I'm going to become enlightened. I'm going to find out just the right meditative practice to use. I'm going to find the right chants. And I used to think to myself, I need to spend 7 years in Tibet in a cave somewhere. No.
It was actually 8 years. You needed 8 years.
But it reminded me of that 7 years in Tibet movie with Brad Pitt. I don't know if you ever heard of that one. But.
Yeah, I only watched 3.5 years in Tibet. I knew what the next 3.5 was going to be like.
See, it's that right there that you're doing.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that. Because see, I'm sure you're noticing that. You have so much experience of what you're not, and you've been through it all, because you went back and forth. You used to say that. I mean, you even admitted it. You said, yeah, I used to go back to drinking, drugs, and then I went back to spirituality. Tried that a while. That didn't work. Yeah?
Yes.
So what you're saying, and I did the drugs thing too, big time. I had a big drinking problem when I was in high school. About three solid years, man. Nothing but drinking, partying, going out, and not even caring about anything else, but just doing that.
Yeah.
Right. And so what really opened up another aperture, you know, that 13th monkey thing you talk about, right?
The 100th monkey.
The 100th monkey thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
All the apertures.
Yeah.
Experience that. Now I understand what you mean by that 100th monkey.
Great. Yeah.
Now I get it. So now that which is going to claim, it pops up, right? Pops up. Hey, I get it now. No, that's not it. Then it falls, right?
Yeah.
Aperture again. And then another one comes up. It's not you, but it's going to claim it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
See? There. Now, then I thought, you know what? I better get one of your books so I can see them, all the phrases and all the things that you bring up and all the stories, the lion and the pooper scooper, all those things you said throughout all the other past satsangs, right? and so all of it began to make sense, and then it finally clicked. Oh, okay, so that's what it is. That's what that 100th monkey means. I'm none of those things that keep popping up. I'm none of those selves, all that selfless selves. I'm none of that. So now I'm traveling lighter, looking back at it and laughing at it all. It's Comedy Central indeed. That's all I had to say. Thank you, Paul.
That was perfect, bro. Thank you so much. That's you would be one of my first testimonials. That was very nice.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. And I like all the Buddhas. Yeah. I love the Buddhas.
And Hank is up.
Hi, I'm Hank. Thank you very much for this meeting. And a few weeks ago, someone sent me YouTube video of you, and since then I'm really hooked on. I watch them every night.
It was my mother. I told my mother to stop doing that.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm 38 years in AA, and I've sat on the feet of Vedic monks for many years. But somehow I never connected the two. It's very strange. But yeah, I have it's not fully true, but anyway, I was working with the sponsee on the fourth step, and but your tapes gave me totally different perspective of these on the fourth step.
Yeah.
That the bondage of self is there, what we're watching there, but there is also this moral aspect, which is, and the damage that we have done sometimes is also very real, and but just looking at it as bullshit in a way, or how should I call it?
Bullshit's pretty good.
Yeah, seems to set me at a distance of it, but there is also that responsibility, or at least that accountability of it. And somehow this, I cannot, it's a bit like as if one evades responsibility for the damage that
Yes, that's always the first reaction from the programming.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even
Okay.
though for years and years and years and years, that was its whole strategy, was to evade responsibility. Now, when it's has a different meaning, it's the first one to harp on the fact you should be responsible. You see, the programming, you and I are not self-serving. The programming is self-serving. Selfing is self-serving. Yeah. So yeah, of course, now, no, I'm responsible for everything. Yeah. There you go, really. So I know I run into it a lot, and but I like the little story about the dog going over to the neighbor's lawn and taking a big shit, and then the neighbor calling me and said, "Hey, your dog just took a big shit." Now, yeah, so what do? I'm accountable. I'm not responsible. I didn't take the shit. It's the dog, but I'm accountable. So I go over there and I clean it up, and after I clean it up, pretty much the topic is finished. Yeah.
Okay.
Now, if I was responsible for it, I may have guilt for 40 fucking years for every lawn my dog took a shit on. Yes. This is the insanity of it. So I like the idea of, and the thing is, I found, while I thought I was extremely responsible for everyone and everything in self-centeredness, I would take no responsibility. I would avoid it like the plague. So when I was doing the amends and I realized what I had done to most people, I would have done to anybody, unless you could physically stop me, I felt a lot of relief, and I was totally into taking care of those amends, because I saw, the first way I saw it was I was under the effects of a disease, and I was doing what the disease wanted to do. And so when I had made amends, I got a lot of relief, and then being open to possibilities, it led me to another level of understanding, which was just accountability. Because when in Rome, like Jesus supposedly said, hey, render unto Caesar's what Caesar's. Here, if something happens through me, it was me that did it. Yeah. I'm going to get arrested in the court, the judicial system, and shit like that. Now, I'm not a believer in that, but this is how it is. So I'm accountable for what happened in my life through this, definitely. And I'm willing to tell the truth about it. If it was me that did it all, I would evade and avoid it for fucking at all costs, to ever admit anything. So accountability has actually really worked for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
But yeah, you're welcome, bro. I'll
Thank
see
you.
you soon.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
We've got Zen Bitch Slapped Portugal.
Oh, great.
Hi, Paul. Here is Sonia.
Sonia.
Sonia, yes. I have here the guy that introduced to you, and also Magavi, and also a friend.
Wow.
Yes, we free. We like you very much, and like you the way how you speak, and it's amazing because I went to Arunachal and Ramana Ashram, and it's for people that have their life that live in the big city. It's wonderful not to be catch in ashrams, in satsangs, and be more light and things work. And I just want to say thank you for your presence here in Zoom.
Well, thank you. Thanks very much. And nice to see you Portuguese people or whatever.
Yes, we are from Portugal.
Very nice to meet you. I was in Portugal once, 2000 or so in Lisbon for a while.
Yeah.
You're more than welcome
Yeah.
to come back anytime.
Oh yeah, well, you can get in touch with us, and once the pandemic is revoked, we may travel again. It was a pleasure. And come back. Yeah, we're here Wednesdays and Saturdays and whatever.
Only Saturdays because of the time.
Yeah, the time. Yeah. But we also do these things on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 10:30 California time that are called recovery, but they're really hidden non-duality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And many thanks for your work.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for having us. And we'll keep coming back. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you, Portugal. And we've got Ireland.
Ireland.
Glenda O'Driscoll.
Glenda O'Driscoll. Oh, yes.
Hi, Paul.
Hey, Glenda. How are you?
Hey, how are you doing? Yeah, just like our Portuguese friends, I'm still so grateful that you're doing these calls. And
Thank you.
yeah, I have.
That's.
Yeah, I love them.
Oh, great.
So I suppose, what Richard was saying has maybe prompted me asking a question about, seeing the thief policeman and the popping up of the self as object subject. So I feel like I can, or there's definitely a seeing of that a lot. But at the moment, yes. Well, I have two buts actually.
Oh, two buts.
Yeah. So my first butt is like at the moment, what the experience is an awful lot of agitation, irritability, more than usual. But at the same time, it's like I'm seeing it, but that is making it way more agitated.
Yeah.
And my second butt is, which maybe is why I'm more butting in the first place, is a few weeks ago, there was a real deep seeing of what was happening. And there was a deep peace over a few days. It wasn't constant, but and there was a feeling that was what you were talking about. And it felt like I was never in that mental system. And it was funny, even though it was being very dramatic. I could see it was very funny. And it wasn't like the popping that I'm experiencing now of seeing the subject object. It was just the peace, and that was happening. Like, it was, not sure how to describe it, but I suppose I'm a bit confused. Like, I know it's the mental system is going on now. And I know every question that I have is from the system.
No, just ask it, honey. Don't worry. But I have a report to give to you.
Okay.
You've come a long way since I first met you. So you should honor a stabilization of traveling lighter. It's very valuable. Yeah, to honor that. Just as someone who's, I'm not in your life all day, but I've watched you for a few months, and to see the policeman and the thief is a sign the aperture is opened up, and there's no need for it to ever to go back. Yeah, all the narration that it has, and it's going to that's the new setting now. Yeah. Which only leads to more lightness. Only leads to more lightness, really. Yeah. So, but yeah, let's go ahead and the thing is, when there's a shift or a change in the system or the GPS, the mental state is like an Old Testament God. It's jealous of any other God, yes? So the system will kick up when it's getting diminished, yes?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It will seem like it will amp its volume up a little or stuff like that, yeah? That's just because the field you're in is getting clearer and clearer. Not getting, it is clear, yeah? It's just becoming more obvious, yeah? Which shows this thing that works better in the shadow and in the dark, yeah? So you see it more, yeah? It's not that it's getting more, but you're seeing more of it, yeah?
I feel like sometimes it's just, the agitation is just filling everything though, like there's no peace.
Well, that's not gonna stay like that, you know? And then if it seems to be overwhelming, and just do something to distract the attention and interest, yeah? This too shall pass. Yeah, non-duality isn't fundamentalism. It's not like Pharisees that know the letter of the law, but don't know the spirit of the law. Non-duality it doesn't prohibit maintenance of the action figure. That's the mental idea of non-duality, yeah? It allows you to take care of what you're not better than you ever did when you thought it was you, really. Yeah? So if something is getting extreme, freaking watch a fucking mini series or something, yeah? You know what I mean? Really. Because it's not, it can't, see, it's your beam it's using, yeah? It's your beam, it's bending. So you can send it around the corner for a half hour and you break the momentum. You do. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's no martyrdom in non-duality. There's no sacrifice, none of this. Those aren't noble attributes when it comes to what you are. They aren't.
Thank you so much for what you do. And
if
I
you ever need,
I can hardly believe that we all have this chance to, listen to you and interact with you.
Well, listen, honey, if anything's coming on that's called personal or something, we have the meeting after the meeting, and there's a lot of fellowship here also. Yeah. Fellowship and nobodies goes really well together. So, all right, honey, thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Glenda. Jono.
Thank you.
Jono?
Hi, Paul.
Hey.
I heard you a couple of weeks ago, and
yes, I remember the voice for sure.
You kept saying self was addicted to self, and I've heard that.
Yeah.
I've heard that a lot of times.
No, It's
a lot
not
of time.
self-addicted. It's not self-addicted to self. It's self can't get out of self.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because when I thought, when I see what I wasn't, that was it. But I realised it was the policeman and the robber thing. I was seeing it from the policeman because I did get a realisation of being separated. But it was just, it's like I've seen another thing that's seen that, and the self can't get out of self thing. It's like it was basically, it was a full takeover. It had nothing to do with me whatsoever. That's how I'm feeling it, 100%. There was no me addicted to self, because every time I heard self can't get out of self, I thought it was me trying to get out of self, and then I was separated. But it was a full takeover. It was the self trying to get out of self.
Yes.
The policeman and the robber story. So a bit more sunk in and a bit more like a travel.
Well, you know, the business of policing needs a robber. Yeah. And the robber to play out its own guilt needs a policeman. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is what you speak. This is the sense and the movement of duality. Yeah, this is what non-duality is negating, and we are the experience of that movement. Yes.
Yeah.
We are, and then actually, we're awareness watching the experience of that movement. We are truly, and so this is why we don't present the knowledge of what we are to what we are. We present the knowledge of what we're not to what we are, because that's how what you are gets a hit, so to speak. By seeing what it's not, it gets a real hit of what it is, yeah? And that's what gets established. It doesn't take much, but it needs to have that. So it's sort of weird, but it can't arrive at where it already is. So it seems like maybe it's not even there. So in a weird way, it arrives by seeing what it's not, yeah? And then when it arrives, it tells you it's always been this way, but it sure felt like something else had been happening, yeah? And so you bang off the what you're not, and then you get a sense of really what you are. To keep hearing about what you are as what you're not doesn't go anywhere. It's not in my experience, yeah? So this is the whole point of, and the policeman, the self can't get out of self is exactly that. If you were to, you know, my whole life story was Paul trying to get out of self since I've been 6 years old, really. You know, science fiction, Edgar Allan Poe, other drugs, shit like that. Yeah. Yet you could have presented the statement self can't get out of self, and I could have understood it intellectually, but it wasn't applicable because I wasn't one pole of self can't get out of self was definitely Paul. Yeah, that's the act of being identified. That's why it's important. I want to question, you know, this idea of Paul. I don't want Paul to get self can't get out of self. I don't. I want a recognition that Paul, AKA self, yeah? I want to see that the observed self and the observer self, neither of them are me, yes? That's where there's relief that stabilizes, yeah? So, yeah, so this is and a lot of people today have shared that they're traveling lighter. That's the point, I guess, here, you know? So I feel quite successful today.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for your service.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jono.
Can you imagine, I want to just say something, Mike. Now, Glenda from Ireland, she came on, like I remember Glenda, because she asked me some questions, like the first week maybe we started this Zoom. So now I don't see her all week. She comes back maybe once a week, twice a week. But I've noticed stuff, you know, I notice. And what she was saying today, if you could have guaranteed the person getting that in 3 months of Zooms, you could have charged $100,000 fucking dollars. Yeah. I mean, that's amazing to see the both aspects of selfing. It's beautiful. I mean, you know, people spend tons of years studying shit and they never get to this point. They never get to that point. The self is safely masquerading as them, trying to become an authentic self or a greater self or a transcendent self. Yeah. Just completely camouflaged in you know, clear sight. This is you know, I'm in incredible gratitude and appreciation for these Zooms, to watch the people I've been participating with and them participating with me. Yeah, it's just yeah.
Sorry, Paul, I just have to say it's probably because I have the 3 books.
That's the lucky number. That was the best line of my Zoom life. That was good. Thank you. You're going to get a percentage of the uptick in sales, Splenda.
Paul, this is Michael in Watsonville. Can you hear me?
Oh, Michael. What happened? Something happened. Michael in Watsonville?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
All right. So this is my 3rd time hearing you. It's always very nice. And but I haven't heard only maybe a few hours of your way of presenting this. So I'm wondering, do you advocate a methodology like Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj meditating on the I am?
No, I don't advocate anything really. I feel like if certain things land, you'll be moved to wherever you're going to be moved to. Yeah.
Is meditation something you generally would encourage, or?
I don't have any opinion on it. You know, if I feel like if you need to do it, you should do it. Yeah. Or if you have blood pressure, it's helpful. If your head seems to be agitated a lot, yeah, maybe you'll be able to stand.
It sounds like you're calling for a more direct engagement with this.
Well, you can't be more than direct than being it, yeah? So, yeah, I would imagine that's the case. Yeah.
Did you follow a protocol? I know that you had some connection with Ramesh Balsekar. Did you?
No, I don't follow anything. No.
But at some point, were you meditating? Were you doing?
Well, I was meditating when I was younger, and yeah, to an extreme state, which in hindsight told me I must have thought I was going somewhere, because I was meditating 13 hours a day in temples in northern Thailand. But that came to an abrupt halt. No, I have faith in everyone here that if they need to find something, they'll find it. Yeah. I think they've been given enough shit already. Yeah.
Were you a bhikkhu? Were you a monk in Thailand?
What? A monk? No, I wasn't a monk.
Oh, all right.
No, I was never anything really. A drug addict, I would probably be my most devoted condition, was drug addiction.
Did you know Ram Dass? Were you friends?
No, I didn't know any Ram Dass. I didn't know of him. One of the first books I ever read was Be Here Now.
Right.
And then Autobiography of a Yoga. I think almost every person my age Those are the two first books they read in spirituality. But no, I didn't. I did stuff, and then until I didn't do stuff, I don't recommend or not recommend. I don't. I'm just trying to point out more like we're just warning givers. Yeah, we're not. We're just attempting to point out something I felt when I went to satsangs was being underemphasized or not spoken about, that I felt to be very important, which is the movement of the mental state to claim whatever contact it's brought into. So, and I don't believe there's processes that's faster than that process. So to me, that's the point, is just to point out what we're not. And then when you're relieved of all of the importance and meaning that circulates and grows in the self-importance of being that thing, you'll find out where you're gonna go, you know? Maybe you'll do shit, maybe you won't. Who knows? I don't think anything, I don't have any mapped out plan, no.
So if somebody expressed interest in meditation, you would not be equipped to offer them a practice or anything like that? That sounds like
I would not be equipped to.
It's not in your repertoire to say give.
Oh, I can do that. I've did a lot of. I've learned a lot of meditations, but I don't. I'm not a meditation teacher. I don't give really. Yeah, I don't know. I don't give that much advice, I don't think, about stuff.
So
I hope I don't.
You're just offering a presence. You're just holding a space.
Well, I'm not offering it. I'm just saying it's readily available. And what's not allowing that to be obvious, I want to point out. Yeah. In other words, I'm not making available a presence. There's a presence that's available, but for some reason or another, which is what we're trying to point out, it seems not to be available, or only is available when there's controlled situations or circumstances, or if I'm in the right health or right financial bracket. And I feel those conditions and requirements aren't necessary. But
right. Obviously, what everyone is truly seeking is an unconditioned state of being. So that makes sense.
But see, the person itself seeking is the biggest obscuring of that. That's the dilemma. Yeah. It's not the seeking so much, it's the seeking is used to imply a seeker. And the idea of the seeker is based in a fact that it's not the sought, obviously. Or why would it be seeking it? Yeah. So the seeker.
It's a fundamental condition of life, the basic existential angst that drives people in so many different ways.
Well, yeah, what we're just looking at is some of the typical or common manifestations of the strategy, or of what I call selfing. And so that hopefully the person that's been living under that yoke sees it. And then once you see it, obviously it couldn't be you. And then there's a recognition that there's an activity that's been going on unbeknownst to the person it's been representing. Or there's not a person, but yeah. So basically you arrive at where you already are by realizing what you're not. Yes. Instead of trying to realize what you are from what you're not, you see what you're not from what you are. It's just that simple.
And so people who are hanging out with you help to facilitate that insight.
Well, we have talks. I don't help anyone. Yeah. I mean, something comes through, hopefully. And we have a community on Zoom, and we show up 4 times a week, and we hold this space and see what happens. Yeah.
I'm from back east. I'm from New Haven. And yeah, you seem so familiar because I know people from New York and Long Island. So
yeah, well, We're like a very stock model. If you meet one, you've met them all.
Oh, thank you, Paul. I
Oh,
sense a lot of warmth. A lot of warmth. I sense a lot of warmth coming.
Oh,
from
great,
you, so
bro. Well,
great.
yeah. I hope all's well with you, man. Come back. We like to have you here. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. See you.
Okay.
Michael Cannon is up.
Michael Cannon, how are you?
I'm okay, thank you.
First, good. Let's actually meditate on that right now. You're okay.
Yeah, according to some people, maybe not. But anyway.
Who cares about them?
Yeah. First, just wanted to say thank you, and I appreciated you sharing your personal experience with anxiety and panic attacks, because as I was telling you last Wednesday that I was diagnosed with PTSD, and so I felt a lot better to know that I could still have to deal with this, but still be working on opening the aperture from your
For sure.
And so anyway, sharing your experience was good for me. The other thing is, I've heard you talk a lot of times about, you say something like money, girlfriend, car, then you put my in front of that, it changes the whole thing. Yeah. So kind of get it, but at the same time, I don't get it, because my head will tell me, well, it's really my money, it's not yours. And, girlfriend, that's my girlfriend, not yours. Thoughts that I have in my head, even though they're not supposedly my thoughts, but they're not your thoughts or anyone else's. You can't read my mind. So I just needed to hear your opinion, to maybe give a concrete example.
Yeah, I haven't. The intent of using that example is different than where it landed with you. Yeah. So the my isn't contradicting your. It's just showing how we, knowing it or not knowing it, as it would stay in the lesson 2 in the Course in Miracles, are giving everything all the meaning it has. Well, I think a lot of stuff that's given meaning is given meaning through the word my in English, yeah? The sense of ownership, whatever it be used in another language, I don't know. But there's a transfer of meaning that, let's say money is like a half-ton weight. My money could be a ton weight. Yeah. So there's a heaviness that gets distributed through my to what comes after my. That's what I was attempting to imply, because it's, it's not like tripping over a step and you fall and you hit your knee. It's an activity that's going on quite a lot, where there's a lot of distribution of meaning in the dreaming from where we seem to be located, called the dreamt. Yeah, it's not coming from the dreamt, but let's say it's coming through the dreamt. So I was attempting to trigger a sense of that by the idea of money, my money, because you don't change any letter of the word, but you change the meaning of the word, or or its effects. And that, to me, is part and parcel of the act of dreaming. And in a way, as a way of describing holistically what's happening here, dreaming works for me. Yeah, not a dream, but dreaming, like an activity that has no doer and is never done. It's just happening. So that's what I was attempting to do. And the idea of my thoughts, I use it in another way when it comes to recovery, because I felt a very strong terminal uniqueness when I came into AA. And as I was defrosted over the beginning months, I was going to a lot of meetings, and where meetings is where a lot of alcoholics get together and they share their thoughts, their feelings, and you know how they behaved and shit. And I could only come to two conclusions after hearing a lot of people. How did they get my thoughts, or they're not my thoughts? So the sense of ownership that's implied by I don't think is very deserving when it comes to feelings and thoughts and actions. I don't believe they're our feelings and thoughts and actions. So I hope I've clarified it a little.
If they're not our thoughts and feelings, then whose are they?
Yeah, that's the thing. Find out. They're nobodies. There's just thoughts and feelings. Just like when you were a baby, there was a lot of feelings, but there was no generation of a feeler from claiming them. The brain hadn't developed quickly enough. Yet, who would say that there was no baby there and it wasn't alive? We all would recognize it was alive, but there was no one that was living. There was no Paul or Bill or Beatrice, yes? So this idea of whose is it is just, it's like going in and out of the mouse hole, yeah? Yeah, I see it as, doesn't have much value to me. So basically, the mental logic is it can't allow a verb to stand on its own. It has to apply it to a noun. I'm not a fucking disciple of the mental logic. So yeah. So yeah, you should ask yourself that question, whose life is it anyway? Because the whole premise of you is based on that this life is yours. Is it? I don't know. It doesn't matter if you get an answer. You have to have a feeling around it. The answer isn't the message. It's a sense feltness and intimacy of recognizing something. That's the whole point of the talks, is to trigger what's already there in you. Yeah, it's not putting anything new in. We're just triggering something that's just wallpapered over and fucking passed on like a minor speed bump and shit. It's very rarely emphasized. We're talking to that. Yeah. That's the communication. Every one of us on one level, like in AA, we talk about people going out and doing new research, more research. We don't need to do any more research. It's all laid out to see. It's all. You don't need to fucking learn any more. You can learn plenty by what's already happened. Just look at it. Yeah. See it in a new light. Yeah. It's not that this place hasn't been willing or able to inform you. There's been a static that's produced by the identification as the one who wants to be informed, because it thinks it knows already. It's not learning fucking anything. It isn't. Yeah. It thinks it knows. Yeah. So this is, we're speaking to mind, big mind, not small mind or mental state. So, yeah.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. Yeah.
Thanks, Michael. And Imad.
Imad. And there's David. David, nice to see you, David, over there. Gilbank. Nice, Imad. How are you?
Hi, how are you? So, Paul, this question came after you after the exchange with Glenda. So when things arise like feelings, frustrations, or like I have lingering feeling all the time, I don't know what's causing it. And you made the comment like you like ignore it or get busy with something else, or is it a good idea to find out where it's coming from, or?
Well, listen, I don't know. I can't tell you. I mean, has it persisted for a long time?
I mean, it comes and goes, yeah, definitely. I mean,
No, I said, does it persist? Has it persisted for a long time? Yeah. Coming and going doesn't mean it's persistent.
It comes and goes. Like for a few years actually. And
all right, so maybe it's something that needs its 5 minutes on the stage. I don't know.
okay.
You got to get an intimacy around this. Yeah.
Right.
Let's say,
Okay.
like, as an action figure, something could come up in my head, and I say, I don't want to be with the person I'm with. Yeah. Could come up because I didn't get my way, or she ate too much of the fucking macadamia nut butter or something.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, if that feeling seems to have been coming up for years, and I seem to be leaning in that direction, then I got to give it a little attention and see if there's a true moving away from the situation I'm in or not. Yeah. You get an intimacy of when to, you know, what deserves the spotlight and what doesn't. I like the spotlight on the space. That's what I like. Yeah. If certain particular things keep harping, then the spotlight maybe has to go there, and then they have their little 5 minutes of dancing, and then hopefully they get reconfigured by being seen and noticed, and then move on. You know, but I don't know. I can't.
Yeah. No, I think I get what you're saying.
I'm not inside a mod in a way.
Right. No, I think I get what you're saying. You meant it in a different way, and if something needs attention, I get it. Thank you.
Yeah. See, that's the good thing. I don't like Zoom a lot, but I do in some ways. The good thing with Zoom is we got the time here, so I can correct what you think I mean.
Right. No, I get it now, Paul. I get it.
A lot. Because it's obvious that people aren't hearing it the way I hear it, which is great. Yeah.
No, I get it now. It's yeah.
All right, good, bro.
Thank you.
And
Thank you very
I'm
much.
happy to see you, Imad. Yeah.
Always pleasure, Paul.
You vice versa, yes. All right, let's do one more, Mike, or something, eh? Should have ice cream now. Mike. Michael went out. What happened?
I see Judith waving her hand.
Oh, thanks.
All right, we'll take one more. Who's this? Judith is waving her hand? Yeah, let Judith on.
Hi, Paul.
Hey, John. I just saw Jono from UK. Nice to see you, Jono. All right, Judith, how are you?
Good. Thank you so much. What an awesome meeting. Paul, I feel like I've always had a lot of grace around me, and I appreciate that so much. And meeting you is just at the top of what a luck of the draw that I should spend time with Paul Hedderman. It's just beautiful, Paul. Thank you. Do you hear me?
Yes, I'm going to send you that check, that money I owe you, I'm sending. Yeah.
No, thank you so much. I've been able to see the thief and the policeman both. It's been beautiful to see them. When I saw the thief, I saw how much self-interest there was in myself, in my thought system, and how consumed I was with it. And then I noticed that the one that noticed it was the policeman, and that I was neither. And Paul, that aperture has just been giving me so much, because I can sit back and know that I'm neither. And it's just beautiful. What you do for us is tremendous. It's tremendous, because we all buy into heaviness that comes through, and we all want to look at it because it's very interesting and we want to fix it. But there's no fixing it anymore here. And this is thanks to the teaching, and your teaching is just flawless in my mind and my heart. Thank you so very much.
Wow, Judith, thank you. I think I'm never going to speak again. That's going to be the last share.
Oh,
so you all have a nice thought of me from this point on.
Well,
thanks, Judith.
So grateful. Have a wonderful day, Paul.
Yeah, thank you.
Aloha.
Aloha, yes. All right. Well, listen, let's say goodbye, Mike, eh?
Okay. Bye.
First of all, I'm going to say goodbye to Mike and thank Mike.
Bye. Thank you.
How you doing over there? Is it cooking?
It's a little cooler than yesterday, only about 80.
Oh, wow. It's over 100 here. Yowza. We're going to go, we're going to sneak into the neighbor's pool. All right. Dale O. Nice to see you, Dale. And Walter, XXX. All right, Walter. Yeah. After a few more talks, it'll just be Walter X. We'll get rid of 2 X's, 1 X a week. All right, we got Norman. Always a pleasure to see you, Norman. Yariv. We got Robert from New Zealand, the Kiwi, the resident Kiwi. Nice to see you, Robert. It's your winter time. You're looking a little bit, yeah. You got that New Zealand wool. I like it. Yeah, all right. Let's see who else. Yariv, my main man. Nice to see you. Thank you for the cash, Yariv. I needed about 30% of my lavish lifestyle lost its luster. We've been rubbing it. It's coming back. We got Judith, beautiful. Thanks for that share, Judith. Fritz,
Thank you, Paul.
Mike.
Amen.
Yeah. We got Jill. Jill, she's sort of, she's in the, yeah, she's somewhere there. Thanks to see you, Jill. Gary, thank you for the donation, Gary, and all the support. And the corner is a very huge space, Gary, eh? Richard, thanks a lot for that share, Richard. I don't think I'd heard your voice in a while.
Yeah, thank you. All right.
Yeah. We got Glenda O'Driscoll. Nice to see you, Glenda. Yeah. We got Barbara and Roman. We got the lesser half, Roman, but that's all right. I love Roman. Thank you, Roman. A joyous character. Yes. We got Andre, beautiful sunset in the water. We got Sue. Very nice, Sue. Thank you, Sue. Natalie, fantastic to see you. Yeah. You don't need a dream catcher. You're the catcher of all the dreams. We got Sharon. Sharon, the food bringer. Yeah. Nice to see you, Sharon. We got the Portuguese Zen bitch slappers. Yee-hoo! You sound like a folk group in America.
Yeah.
The Portuguese Zen bitch slappers. That's good. I like that. Hey, Z, nice to see you, Z. I haven't lost my wallet yet from my phone. We got John K. I hope I got it right. Yes. We got Amsterdam. Henry in Amsterdam. Chris, nice to see you, Chris. As always, nice to see you. We got, wait a minute, Colin, we got Johans. Johans is on a winning streak. Very good. John Walker. Yes. We got a lovely couple, Macaulay.
Thanks, Paul. It was magic tonight, and I got my dad watching with me.
Oh, nice to see you,
Thank
Mr.
you so
Macaulay.
much, Paul.
We all love your daughter.
Yeah, so do I. Yeah, she's
that's outing. Thank you, Paul.
She wouldn't let the guy see you. We got Phoenix Elroy. I just want to give you one bit of advice. Don't jump. Randy, we got Michael Cannon. Nice to see you again, Mike. Stick with us, brother. Simpatico. Jono, always a pleasure to see you, Jono. Yeah. We got Beatrice.
Thanks, Paul.
Casalino. You'd love my
friend.
You'd love my girlfriend, Amelia Dinato. Yeah.
Awesome. Good Italian name.
From Pescara.
Nice and strong.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. No, she's not original. Bernice. Nice to see you, Bernice. And we got Meek, of course, Mickey's always holding the space. We got Mike C. Nice to see you, Mike. Wow, we got Danny. Danny's waiting for the verdict to finally show up. He's sitting behind the desk. We got Kaiser.
Thanks, Paul.
We got Jackie and David. There's David. David does all the recovery sessions. Yeah. We got, let's see, who else? More. Zoe. We got the information from Sanda too, you know. If you want, you can talk to Mike if anyone wants to go to India. We got someone else I can't read. It's a huge word. Badass, Brahmi something. Oh, we got.
Oh, that's Bala. And we met in Seattle 3-4 years ago, and I didn't know you were doing Zoom until Peter Lomberg told us last week.
Oh, great.
That's
Well,
great. Thank you.
Nice to see you again. Yes, we'll be here. We got Malcolm, one of my main supporters, Malcolm. Very nice. My sugar daddy. We got Tina. I think it's Tina. We got Helen. Helen's looking very good today. That's good, Helen. Yeah. We got Mario. Let's see who else. Dale. Oh, we got Julie. She's fantastic. You're right next to Beatrice, Julie. You're in good hands. Right next to Consolino.
That's Cosolino.
Susan. Oh. Tofa, Keith, Sue, and Susan. Nice to hear from you, Susan. And everyone else, I'm going to say goodbye. Thanks. And the room will stay open, I think, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks so much for the opportunity for all of us to connect. Bye.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Paul.
brother.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you, Paul.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.